Our relationship was very strong and very serious and very real. We went together for 1 year, and he trusted me.
In the glittering world of 1960 Hollywood, where secrets were currency and scandals could make or break careers, one love story remained hidden in plain sight for decades. It was a romance that could have changed the course of entertainment history, involving two of the era's most magnetic stars whose chemistry was so explosive it literally lit up movie screens across America. This is the story of Ann-Margret and Elvis Presley, a connection so powerful it threatened to shake the very foundations of the King's carefully constructed world. For over 50 years, the Swedish bombshell kept her silence about what really happened between them during those electric months in 1964. But now, as the final curtain approaches on Hollywood's golden age, she's finally ready to reveal the truth about the affair that nearly destroyed Elvis's marriage and changed both their lives forever. The year was 1963, when two unstoppable forces were destined to collide. Elvis Presley, already crowned the undisputed king of rock and roll, was at a crossroads in his career. The rebellious young man who had scandalized America with his hip gyrations was slowly transforming into a Hollywood leading man, churning out formulaic movies that pleased his manager Colonel Parker but left Elvis feeling creatively stifled. He was married to the beautiful Priscilla, living what appeared to be the American dream in Graceland, yet something was missing from his carefully orchestrated life. Meanwhile, Ann-Margret Olsen had just exploded onto the Hollywood scene like a Swedish supernova. Fresh from her star-making turn in Bye Bye Birdie, she possessed that rare combination of raw sexuality and innocent charm that drove audiences wild. With her flame-red hair, electric smile, and dancing abilities that could make grown men weep, she was being hailed as the female Elvis Presley. The comparison wasn't lost on either of them. When MGM decided to pair these two dynamite performers in Viva Las Vegas, nobody could have predicted the romantic earthquake that was about to shake Hollywood to its core. From the moment they met on the set at the Sahara Hotel in Las Vegas, the attraction was undeniable and dangerous. Here were two people who understood the intoxicating rush of performing, the loneliness of fame, and the pressure of living up to an image that sometimes felt like a beautiful prison. The chemistry between them wasn't just professional, it was primal. During the filming of their dance sequences, the entire crew would fall silent, mesmerized by the sexual tension crackling between the two stars. Their on-screen romance in the movie was so convincing because it was real. Behind the cameras, away from the prying eyes of the press, Elvis and Ann-Margret were falling deeply and dangerously in love. What made their connection so powerful wasn't just physical attraction, though that was undeniably intense. They shared something deeper, a mutual understanding of what it meant to be objectified, to be reduced to image, to have your every move scrutinized by millions. Elvis found in Ann-Margret someone who could match his energy, his passion for music, and his hunger for authentic connection. She saw in him not just the king of rock and roll, but a vulnerable man trapped by his own success. Their secret romance played out in stolen moments between takes, late-night conversations in Elvis's suite, and passionate encounters that they both knew were playing with fire. Ann-Margret later described those months as some of the most intense of her life. Elvis would serenade her with his guitar in private moments, showing her songs he'd never recorded, revealing the artist he might have been if fame hadn't boxed him in. She would dance for him alone, performances more intimate and real than anything she'd ever done on stage. But their love story was doomed from the start. Elvis was married, and despite his growing feelings for Ann-Margret, he was trapped by his image, his manager's control, and his own complicated relationship with commitment. The press began to notice the electric connection between the co-stars, and rumors started swirling. Colonel Parker, always protective of Elvis's carefully crafted image, began to panic. A scandal involving his golden goose and the hottest young actress in Hollywood could destroy everything they'd built. The pressure mounted as filming continued. Priscilla, who had always been suspicious of Elvis's female co-stars, began to sense that this time was different. Friends close to the couple later revealed that she could feel Elvis slipping away, becoming more distant and distracted. Phone calls between Elvis and Ann-Margret when they weren't filming became longer and more frequent. The king was falling in love, and everyone around him could see it. The turning point came during the filming of the movie's climactic scene. As Elvis and Ann-Margret performed their final dance number together, something shifted between them. It was as if they both realized that this magical interlude in their lives was coming to an end, and they would have to choose between their careers and their hearts. The intensity of that moment was captured on film, and audiences would later say they could feel the real emotion behind their performances. When filming wrapped, Elvis faced the most difficult decision of his life. Ann-Margret had made it clear that she was ready to fight for their love, even if it meant facing the scandal and career destruction that would inevitably follow. She was prepared to weather the storm of public condemnation, to be labeled a homewrecker, if it meant being with the man she loved. But Elvis, despite his feelings, couldn't bring himself to destroy the life he built, the empire that supported not just him but dozens of employees and family members. The end of their affair was as dramatic as its beginning. According to Ann-Margret's recent revelations, Elvis came to her hotel room on the last night of filming with tears in his eyes. He told her that he loved her more than he'd ever loved anyone, but that he couldn't leave Priscilla, couldn't handle the media firestorm, couldn't risk destroying both their careers. It was a conversation that haunted both of them for the rest of their lives. The aftermath of their secret romance had profound effects on both stars. Elvis threw himself back into his marriage and his career with renewed intensity, but those close to him noticed a change. The spark that had been reignited during his time with Ann-Margret began to dim again. His performances became more mechanical, his personal struggles more pronounced. Some biographers suggest that losing Ann-Margret was one of the factors that contributed to his later dependency on prescription drugs and his gradual withdrawal from the world. Ann-Margret, meanwhile, channeled her heartbreak into her career with fierce determination. She threw herself into increasingly challenging roles, determined to prove that she was more than just a pretty face or a threat to other women's marriages. Her Academy Award-nominated performance in Carnal Knowledge was infused with a raw emotional honesty that many attributed to her personal experiences with love and loss. For decades, both stars maintained their silence about what really happened between them. Elvis, bound by his image and his complicated relationship with the truth, never publicly acknowledged the depth of their connection. Ann-Margret, displaying the class and discretion that marked her entire career, refused to kiss and tell, even when offered enormous sums by tabloids desperate for the inside story. But now, in her 80s and with most of the players in this drama long gone, Ann-Margret has finally decided to set the record straight. In recent interviews, she's revealed details that add new layers to our understanding of both stars and the price of fame in Hollywood's golden age. She speaks of Elvis not as the larger-than-life king, but as a man who struggled with the gap between his public image and his private desires. Perhaps most poignantly, she reveals that their love story didn't truly end when filming wrapped. They continued to care for each other from afar, following each other's careers, sending occasional messages through mutual friends. When Elvis died in 1977, Ann-Margret was devastated, feeling that she'd lost not just a former lover but a kindred spirit who truly understood the unique pressures of their rarefied world. The story of Ann-Margret and Elvis Presley is more than just another Hollywood romance. It's a window into an era when stars were gods and goddesses, when image was everything, and when real human emotions had to be sacrificed on the altar of public perception. It's a reminder that behind the glitter and glamour of Tinseltown were real people with real hearts that could be broken just as easily as anyone else's. Their brief but intense love affair remains one of Hollywood's great what-ifs. What if Elvis had chosen love over image? What if Ann-Margret had been less understanding, more demanding? What if they had been brave enough to face the scandal together? These questions will never be fully answered, but Ann-Margret's revelations give us a glimpse into a love story that was as real and powerful as any ever captured on screen. In breaking her silence after all these years, Ann-Margret has given us a final gift, the truth about a romance that burned bright and brief like a falling star across the Hollywood sky, beautiful and tragic and utterly unforgettable.